situation.
Right.
And I learned how to arm myself, so to speak, how to come to a set with like, I got 4 versions in the truth and my holsters are loaded.
Yeah.
So you can, let's call the audible, press record. You can throw at me whatever you want. I want to be able to I can go with it. I can dance with it, whatever you give me. And that's when it's really fun. When as actors, we're really hitting it on the screws is when it's like, don't even say cut. If you got 1 million hours of film, if you got 1 million hours of film video, press record right now and put a blindfold on me wherever you want to go. Keep the recorder on. I'll be my guy.
Right.
That's when it's like.
That's when you like
it. Doesn't always happen, but that's when it's like. Ooh.
Yeah. That's what makes it worth it. That and the money.
Yeah.
So when did the 2 primary? It seems like there were 3 primary kind of like necessary recalibrating spiritual journeys that you had to take because of some existential crisis, right? Yep. And that's a lot of the book in a way. It kind of hangs on these things, and they're interesting to me. I mean, outside of the fact that they were all sort of, driven by wet dreams that were non-sexual, which that's nice, good for you, but.
Good for you. Good for you. Hey, way to be the one. Congratulations, McConaughey. Next.
Yeah. When did the first one to Africa? When did that happen? Because but also like I think the living in the trailer thing. It's hard for me to sort of see in the context of the career and in time. Like, you took 2 trips to Africa, a trip to a monastery, but you also lived in a mobile home for what, years? Months?
Yeah, about 4 years.
4 years. So you brought the business to you when it needed to come to you, and you were
I drove my Airstream to Vancouver.
But you were in
Detroit,
demand at that time. It wasn't like you were on the outs at that time. This was a lifestyle.
No, I was in somewhat demand, yes.
Because that was a lifestyle choice. This is how I'm going to live.
Yeah.
To make me me. I'm going to be out on the road with my dog, living life, meeting real people. So what happened when you hit the wall enough to really check out and go to Africa the first time?
Well, so the first I had the
nocturnal emission.
The nocturnal emission hands-free. Palais show free nocturnal emission. The first one was in 96, and that one sent me to Peru. As I knew in the dream, there were 2 things I knew to be facts in the dream. There was the Amazon River and African tribesmen on the left bank, as far as the
2 separate dreams, right?
No, that's the same dream.
That's the first one.
Same exact dream. 11 frames, 11 seconds. Snapshot. I'm floating down the river on the Amazon River on my back, wrapped up in anacondas. Freshwater sharks are swirling, crocodiles and piranhas. On my back naked. There's African tribesmen with shields and spears all on the left bank above me, all the way as far as the eye can see. Then I came.
Right.
It was not a nightmare. I go, oh, geez, I wake up from that. What is that? That's got to be someone's telling me something here. What do I know about those? I know it's the Amazon. I know it's African tribesmen. So as I say in the book, I go to the Atlas for Africa looking for the Amazon. Wrong continent. So I didn't find the Amazon. I said, I'm going there. I go for a 22-day trip to float the Amazon. That story's in there. I think, okay, I fulfilled it. I have the dream again. I had it again in 99.
I know, but like when you go down there, like, okay, so, it's only 21 days, but it's a pretty big journey. And like, what was it? Because all these times, you're having these existential crises and, you seem to feel like you have to pay some penance for something.
Yep.
I mean, what was the cleansing thing? What did you have to, what was it that you had to reconfigure to go down there? Like, what were you like, I got to fucking do this because why?
Well, let me look. It was a celestial suggestion to me that I took quite seriously.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I did not know exactly what I was needed to go find, but I was like, this is a wonderful excuse to get the fuck out of here and go off on your own. And you know what? I'm going to say that's probably a good idea anyway for somebody anytime they can do it. But right now, since you got that celestial suggestion through this wet dream, this one may have a higher hand, and let's go chase it down and see what we get out of it. So then I have that same dream again over 3 years later. And I'm in the northern side of the Liffey in the Morrison Hotel, just finished Rain of Fire in Ireland.
Yeah.
Had the exact same dream, 11 frames, 11 seconds, wet dream. And I'm like, whoa, Hadn't had that in 3 years, but it's the same one I had then. Well, maybe it's calling me out to do the second half of my dream. What's the second half? The other thing that I know about the dream geographically, African tribesmen. Okay, I guess I need to go to Africa.
Now that I got the river part done, I got to go.
I got the river part done.
What are the
now
Africans
I got to go
doing there?
So I go, I got to chase down the second half.
Yeah.
Now I'm going, mighty big continent. What's my coordinate over there, baby? Listening to music, Ali Farkachuri. Wait a minute, that guy's Africa. Where's he from? Check him out. He's from Niafunke. Where's Niafunke? Oh, it's in Mali. Okay, I'm going to go find Ali.
Yeah.
Didn't know anything more than that. And headed off, found Ali about 5 days into the trip and ended up taking the rest of the greatest trip of my life for the next 17 days after that.
So these were just sort of like impulsive, cosmically informed journeys that you had the wherewithal and the financial freedom to take, and you wanted to just see what would happen.
Damn right. And felt like, and like I said, always looking for an excuse to go take an adventure or a solo, to chase down a mystery.
Sure. And they all feed your character. I mean, like that whole story in Africa, you know, around the wrestling, that was exciting and fun. And you developed a friendship with the guy who drove you, like, you know, your guide. You know, that's exciting.
Yep.
Okay, so then getting to the monastery that we started the conversation with, it seemed to me that you had somehow, because like what's interesting about the book is that you have these events in your life that you thread together as defining events, right? But there are definitely periods in your life and moments in your life that you kind of move through by going like, you know, there's a couple of references to you know, I got to cleanse myself of these sins, and also like, you know, like this an intensity of loathing. So like, you know, like,
yeah,
and but you know, you don't write about either of those things.
Well, I mean, but I didn't look my threshold. I have a pretty short threshold for my own feeling of self-guilt. And my own feeling of self-significance. My threshold's pretty quick. I mean, I have a pretty sensitive wire when I'm feeling like, whoa, hang on, McConaughey. You're not being all of you right now. You're not grounded. Your mind and your heart and your spirit do not have an Autobahn between them right now. You've got some blocked roads here and you need to clear this up. And, why you been thinking that? Geez, you've been kind of looking down on things. You're thinking negatively. I didn't like what you said last night. How you said that. Right. What was constructive about that, McConaughey? What are you trying to be somebody else? And so those triggers let me know, hey, my spider sensors go off and go, you need to check in. You need to bend a knee, boy.
Yeah.
You know, you need to go check out to check in. And whether that is going to the monastery and praying or going off into nature, those are all fugamundis, as my brother Christian friend monk calls them, that are walkabouts, which are to say, I'm going to go to a place where I can listen to myself. I'm in a position of fame at that time in my life where there's a lot of frequencies coming at me.
Yeah.
There's a lot, 24 hours a day. I got a lot coming at me, a lot of voices, a lot of things I'm listening to, a lot of things I think I am and I want to be. All of a sudden you can start objectifying your life and go, wait, where's the subject? And so I'm feeling like I'm living an object in my life and going, wait a minute, but I don't feel my own feet on the ground.
Right.
I need to go somewhere where I can hear myself think. I need to go somewhere where memory can catch up with me, where I can go, okay, let's have this out, McConaughey. Let's go back over the old docket here and see what we've been doing over the last year. And let's measure them out and let's figure out which ones we're going to forgive and which ones we're going to say, I'm fucking tired of that. No more.
Right.
And I want to do, and I'm going to have that out with myself. Let's go have that wrestling match until we get to a point, which is usually around day 12, that there's a purge. There's a forgiveness period where I go, okay, all right.
Right.
Stuck with the one person I can't get rid of. So let's shake hands on this, McConaughey, and see how we can do from here on out. And we'll screw up again and need another one of these soon. But for now, let's have a good time and be more present.
Right. And that works, you know, like, cause you go deep with it. Like, you know, you don't, so you, most of the time it seemed like that first time it was about, you know, that line that you cross where you're no longer defined by yourself, but by the business's expectations, other people's expectations, the, you know, whatever the fans' expectations.
Yeah.
And but alongside of that, you got all this bread, and you can do whatever the fuck you want. And there's no way you're not going to get into a decadence hole because you've lost your way.
That's what I didn't want to get into a decadence hole. Like I said, I write about the value of resistance in my life a lot. You just said it. I got all this dough, can do whatever the fuck I want. Whoop. Well, that's a prescription for becoming a tyrant.
A tyrant.
Unless you check in
or
with
dead.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't want those, so I'm going, well, wait a minute, man. What's how can I? So I needed too many options. I needed to decrease options. I needed to hear myself. I write about it with the pressed jeans.
Oh yeah, that's a good analogy.
When you can, ask yourself if you want to before you do. So with success becomes all of this. I can.
Right.
For the first time, I can. So shit, yeah, I want to. Well, all of a sudden you go, wait a minute. Some of this stuff isn't really feeding me back. It's not really good for me. So hang on, let me check in. But I was just saying yes because I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, look, they're giving me free jackets. They got look at these hats. Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, what was it?
I needed to find a little discernment.
What was it? Where were you? What were you shooting when that happened? They put you up in where was it? In Arizona, with the maid and the.
Yeah, that was Boys on the Side.
Right. And what was that story? That friend of yours comes over?
So I get this great little adobe guest house on the edge of this like Sparrow National Forest there. I mean, coyotes howling right outside my door. Great little 1-bedroom loft. It's got a nice kitchen, and it comes with a maid.
Right.
The housekeeper. I've never had one before, man. She's making me great food, breakfast, and scrambled eggs, and leaving me a dinner at night, and having it set out, and making my bed, and all this stuff. Leaving water next to my bed, cleaning stuff up, and she also starts pressing my jeans,
right?
Like with that little fine line right down the front leg. And I have my friend over, Beth Alexander, who's now moved on. And I'm like telling her this stuff like it's my birthday, like I just told you.
Yeah.
And I went and I said, look at this, man. She even presses my jeans. And she was just laughing. She goes, well, that's great, Matthew. I said, right. She goes, if you want your jeans pressed. And I went, I hate that fucking line on my jeans. I never thought of that before.
It's the worst. But
yeah,
but I like that became this sort of point of wisdom, where that was the click, like.
It clicked to go. Yeah.
What do I want? I don't have to take everything, even though
I don't have to take everything, even though for the first time in my life I can get all these things I never got before. So yeah, it did a little. When you can, ask yourself if you want to before you do.
Now, were you brought up with Jesus?
Yeah, we were brought up Methodist, which is heavy on the New Testament. Heavy on the thanks.
Yeah,
heavy on the gratitude. Not so much the Baptist Old Testament. If you don't do this, then you're going to hell. It was a lot of forgiveness and gratitude.
Yeah, and do you stay with that when you do these walkabouts and stuff? Is that who you go to generally, or is it broader? I
mean, it's one of the places I go to because I've read a lot of wonderful stuff that I appreciate through Jesus' teachings. But I go more to mystics. I've done a lot of the Meister Eckhart.
Yeah.
I'd call myself more of an optimistic mystic. And then I'm over, I'm obviously learning Islam when I'm over in Africa, and respecting how at any time they just lay a mat down and pray through the day, how it's a part of the daily language. It's not like a separate thing that you go on a Wednesday night or a Sunday morning. It's a daily ritual. And so picked up some things about through the day, how you can pray through the day, whether it's meditation or what have you. At the monastery, they're out there in the desert. Part of their view is, look, we're in the desert, and when our mind wanders, we bend a knee and look right at our feet, the dirt, a rock, whatever, and go, that's of God.
Yeah,
that's everything around us is of God. So that's where they pray because they're surrounded by it. So I'm more of a mix and different things. When I've gone to Thailand with the Buddhist as well. So I'm trying to take in what I can.
Well, I like in the book that there was a point where you kind of hit the wall with the movies that were you're making you a lot of money. Yep. I was telling my friend, it was funny. I was talking to my friend Sam Lipsyte, who's a writer in New York. He's a novelist. I said, I'm reading this Matthew McConaughey book, and it's sort of like this hero's journey. And I said, like, I'm right at this part where he just decides he's not going to do rom-coms anymore. And he says, yeah, there comes a point in the hero's journey where they have to say no to rom-coms.
Yeah. I didn't know it was across the